Um, I am going to be going live with a Special Olympics athlete named Callum. He's a great guy. I had the chance to talk with him before going live tonight. And we're just going to talk about the Special Olympics, what it means to him, his story, and hopefully you guys learned something from tonight. So, without further ado, uh, anyways, Callum, how you doing, man?
I've been doing great. Still staying at home, exercising, trying to keep a healthy diet, all that good stuff. Uh,
That makes
Really
one of
great to
us.
do this. Really great to, yeah, and great to do stuff like this with you and Special Olympics to keep that love of sport going.
Absolutely, Callum. 100%, man. Listen, dude, I guess I want some people who follow me in the Special Olympics just to kind of get to know your story. So, can you just explain to everyone kind of your background, how you got involved with Special Olympics?
Yeah.
And
So I first started Special Olympics when I was 8 years old. My family put me into a swim team, which was a swim team meant for non-swimmers. So they taught me how to like tread water, how to kick my legs, how to hold my breath underwater, how to go into the deep end and not be terrified. Uh, and over the years with them, eventually I went to the 2016 provincials and got first place, a second, and two thirds. Since then, because in Special Olympics, you don't, there's no age limit and there's no like you have to do one sport and only focus on that. You can spread out. So then I moved on to like also doing basketball, soccer, track, and kayaking. Uh, yeah, and I love all of them. They're great.
geez, man, you must have some huge muscles on
It's a good exercise, but I'm still pretty lean.
you. And speaking of relationships, you were explaining to me about a special relationship that you built with one of your teammates who wasn't necessarily getting the, I believe you're telling me he wasn't necessarily getting the hang of basketball, and you were able to mentor him, right?
Yeah, so as a teammate on my Special Olympics, my Etobicoke Stingers basketball team. In Special Olympics, there's different divisions. So, I mean, you've probably seen this because you're a coach on a floor hockey team, but it's basically like uh, all the athletes have different skill levels, different ability levels, and the idea is that all of us should be able to compete against other people that are similar to us in terms of their skill at a certain sport. So on my basketball team, there's the B division, which I'm on. There's the D division, and then there's the recreational division, right? And like a lot of Special Olympic teams, the higher division athletes, uh, we're involved with the other team. We're all, even though we're playing in different competitions, we're all still one big family. And me and the
Awesome.
B players and some of the D players are athlete coaches. So my first day as a coach, the head coach Marty, he rounded all of us new guys together, gave us all a job. He looked at me and said, "Okay, Caleb, there's this athlete named John. He's your project. He's your personal project." And we did one. I did one on one with him. He was a bit of a challenge for the team because he was shy. He freaked out with a lot of the loud noises that you get when there's a gym of 50 people dribbling
Yeah.
basketballs. He had trouble following direction and he got distracted a lot. So I stuck with him all the time. A lot of times I'd have to like hold his hand or like physically direct him or go out and like, hey John, pass the ball. Hey John, shoot the ball. That kind of thing. And then over time, he started like I would roll into the gym and I'd see him just already shooting by himself and then getting the rebound because we practice rebounds and then he'd shoot it again. And then he'd start like doing the drills that I did with him with other coaches and passing to them and then even speaking with people. And it was that's one of my favorite Special Olympic stories because it shows that no matter who you are or how challenging things look, you can see growth, right? And
That's
uh,
awesome, man.
yeah, and it's also great because I feel like a great thing about sports is with Special Olympics, there's this idea of the inclusive world where people, um, actually, part of it is unified sports, which is the idea that people with and without intellectual disabilities can play on the same team. For instance, you and I could be on the same team. And I think with sports and with TSN, all of it is like, even though we might come from different places in the world or different backgrounds, we both understand like what feels like to score, right?
Yeah.
Or pass to your teammate or get that good block, right?
And
even though like I'm a basketball guy and you're a hockey guy, we both have that like connection of those emotions there, right?
absolutely, man. And as we always say, everyone should have that same experience of sport and be able to feel those things. And I think that's what's so great about sport in general, Special Olympics. It gives us that feeling because sports obviously teaches us so many things. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So Caleb, I just want to get your opinion. Like, why do you think people should join Special Olympics as volunteers? What are the benefits of it?
Well, I think actually that's something that I want to ask you about because I heard that you're coaching a floor hockey team recently, right? So,
Yeah.
um, okay, before I shoot that question back at you, I volunteered a little bit as a summer intern at Special Olympics Ontario for 2 summers now, and what I feel like is it's still a family, right? Like you don't have to. There's no exclusion. Like just because you don't have an intellectual disability doesn't mean you can't be part of a Special Olympics team. Like a lot of the coaches on my basketball team were like a big band of brothers, and that's including the coaches. I feel like, I mean, you can definitely get a lot of the same feelings like volunteering at a tournament, which I did because it's just so much fun. Uh, if you love a sport like basketball or hockey, just being there to like officiate a sport. But for me, I think if I couldn't be an athlete, I would definitely be a coach. And that's where I go to you. Your first year as a coach, what do you make of it?
Mr. Sports Journalist over here, flipping it around. Uh, it's been great, man. And I joined Special Olympics last week. Actually, you did a live to talk about it, and it's been an awesome experience. I'm still a pretty new volunteer, but I've really enjoyed it. I've liked the relationships that I've made with the athletes, and it's a really it's just so seamless going. It's like it's so natural. You go, you see everyone, and you just feel good. It's something to look forward to in your week. And I genuinely, and I say that wholeheartedly. It's like I've learned a lot from the coaches who I've been with. They've been excellent, and it's been awesome, man. So I look forward to continue doing it. But hopefully we can all leave our houses when it's
Yeah,
safe to,
when
and we
it's
can
safe,
get
yeah,
back to it. But
yeah,
no, obviously we're not going to rush that. So, Caleb, we're going to take some questions now, if that's cool.
for sure.
And to answer a question, it says the Special Olympics, do they have competition on national TV? They actually do. TSN did cover some of the Special Olympics or I don't know why I said some. Yeah, I mean, we covered Special Olympic events in Dubai. So,
Yeah,
which is such a cool experience. So,
it is. I do want to say real quick is that not every Special Olympics like there's different levels, just like with the Olympics or the Paralympics. There's different levels of competition. So, in order to get to like the World Games, you have to first do like get through the regionals and like whatever city you're in, and then provincials or state level stuff, and then nationals, and then worlds. Um, and then there's also the unified sports. I got lucky with the 50th anniversary of Special Olympics, the soccer World Cup we had, as well as some basketball, like university level stuff, where we actually joined university teams like the University of Toronto Scarborough. We went. I have some medals here. I guess I should have started out with that. Uh, so, okay, I think this is my sport movie moment. This is from the University of Toronto Scarborough. It says Ohio State University. We went on a bus for like 5 or 6 hours, driving to Columbus, Ohio. We only
wow.
had we only had two practices with these guys because of it was the team was put together last minute. Uh, it was that was some of the hardest basketball I played at that time, and we won. We brought home the championship, the gold, in a tournament that was all American teams from like Florida and Texas.
Hey,
Yeah. So,
Canada, let's go.
yeah.
Way to
So
go,
that's my also got like the to represent Ontario. We did the youth games, which are in Toronto.
man. Nice.
You might remember a certain premier being booed. I'm not gonna say names, but here's from that 50th anniversary of Special Olympics that was in Chicago, and I also did a team with. We were sponsored by the TFC, the Toronto Football Club, and had a unified game against the Montreal Impact Unified team.
Wow. Nice, man.
Yeah, but
That's
I feel like for me the coolest thing about Special Olympics is even if you don't get into that like big high level stuff, it's still that like that um I don't know what the term carrot on a stick. It's that motivation to go out to practice every week, to train, to push a little harder, to make friends, to improve yourself, and that's the real beauty. It's like they say it's not where you end up; it's a journey. That's what it is for me with Special Olympics. It's the training and the things I've learned and become better as getting those medals, not getting the medal itself. If you get what I mean.
for sure, man. Teaches you a lot about work ethic and teamwork, and there's just so many benefits.